Going on, guys? Broke Investor here, finally making another YouTube video. Yeah, it's been a long time, I know. Just can't find the peace and quiet in order to do so. But anyway, this video is going to be different from the typical video I make. This video is actually going to be a review. And it's going to be a review about the Landa real estate application. It's available on the App Store, I'm sure other, Android, etc. But it's called Landa, and it's an application, and it's for real estate investing. So before I get into this, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a broke-ass investor. I'm not associated with Landa. I'm just giving my review of it, my opinion on it, and what I think about it so far. That being said, let's get started. So again, Landa is, it's an app. And the idea behind it is it's real estate investing for the broke investor, like you and I, right? Obviously, not all of us have, a couple $100,000 laying around, so we can't just go purchase a property and rent it out. Nor do we want to take out debt in order to rent a property, to try to eventually break even and then make money. Because, that's a risk, obviously. So this application, if you haven't heard of crowdfunding, the idea behind it is someone, a company like Landa would own the property or, take out a loan on the property, and they'll basically offer shares to multiple people. And those shares will be a small, it won't cost a lot, but it'll have a lot of people invested in it. And since there's a lot of people buying shares, anybody could do it. So typically there'll be, say $5 to $10. Any, your average investor can afford that. So the more shares you buy, the more rent you can make. So you'll own a portion of the property and you'll make rent. Obviously, in normal scenario, you own the entire property and you get the full rent check. But in this case, you're doing it at a lot smaller level with a whole bunch of people and, a company in charge of the property. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. As I said, it's called Landa, L-A-N-D-A. So here's a few points about it. One good thing, there's no minimum. I know Fundrise, for example, that's another crowdfunding platform. I believe their minimum is $500. Not a lot of people have $500 that they can shell out, nor do they want to, especially if crowdfunding's new. I know myself, I'd rather start with nothing or, $10, $20, and then go from there. Actually, I think their minimum is $10, but when you sign up, you don't need any money. So that's the point. Right now they have a referral program, which is pretty damn good. Obviously, it's because they're still new, but if you are referred, you start out with $20. If you refer others, you get $20. So they're giving $20 to each person. So for each referral right now, it's $40 out of their pocket. Which, again, it's not going to last from what I understand. They're going to go down, well, right now there's a limit, say 5 referrals per new user, I think it is. So obviously you can make up to 100. And then the new that's expected, I believe, is $5 referral on both ends. And I believe that would be unlimited. So it'd be like, it's kind of like Robinhood. You get a link, you send it out, and you get the referral amount. Another one is it's simple. I just mentioned Robinhood. It's actually, the layout kind of looks like Robinhood, and maybe that's what attracted me to it. Because typically, I see these different platforms and I'm running away. I'm ignoring it because I'm mainly focused on dividend investing and through Robinhood. I don't want to get into anything else, unless I'm comfortable with it. For whatever reason, I'm giving this app a chance. And maybe it's because it looks like Robinhood. I don't know. But if that's the reason, they did good. Free meaning like purchase orders. So we're calling them shares. So if you buy a piece of the property or if you sell that piece of the property, it's free. It's free to sign up and it's free transactions. We love that, right? Their actual name is Landa Holdings LLC. They're filed in Delaware, and from what I can see online, it's filed in Delaware as of February 7th, 2019. So as you can see, this company is pretty damn new, which could be good, could be bad. I don't know. Think for yourself here. Headquarters, it's in Chelsea, New York City, New York, obviously. And on the App Store, they mention they are in compliance with U.S. security laws. So again, we're signing up for these platforms and we're depositing money. We're actually linking our bank accounts. So we need to have a comfort level. Crowdfunding apps, although, yeah, I'm not too familiar with it, but everything I could tell, so far gives me a comfort level. I know at the SEC regulates this, so I couldn't find any of their properties attached to an SEC file online, but the reason that I was given is they were unregistered, they were private. So when they offer public properties, we should see something hopefully online on sec.gov, I believe. But I'm still working on that. I mean, my comfort level is pretty much there as far as this application in general being legit, etc. I did buy a few shares of property and I did receive dividends for the month. Again, not much. And I'm also getting, I got about $80 in referrals. So right now, I mean, I can only assume it is legit. It's working fine. The feed, when I reach out to the company online, there's an immediate response. They also offer phone calls. They're willing to call and talk to you right away. So far so good. Now, I'm into accounting. Obviously, that's my career. So let's get into the numbers, the fun part, right? So just so you understand how it works, I pretty much laid out the numbers for, an example of a property. I didn't use the numbers from one of the properties online because I didn't want to, that's kind of, public information that's only for shareholders or people signed up for Landa, I would assume. So for this example, I'm just going to use made up numbers. So let's assume they have a property and that property has a valuation of $100,000. Again, that would be the Landa valuation. You could look up Zillow. I did that, for the most part, they're pretty close. This property, they'll have a loan out. Landa Holdings LLC will have a loan on the property, about $60,000, remaining due on that loan. So overall, there's $40,000 in equity on that property. So what they're offering to you is $40,000 in equity, and they're offering 10,000 shares. It's always 10,000, no more for each property. That being said, $40,000 divided by 10,000 shares. Each share is going to cost you $4. So, and again, this most likely will not, it'll move this $4 per share. It can move based on the valuation of the property. And as of right now, it's not going to move based on debt because so far they're interest only loans that they have. And what this means is they take out, a mortgage and they choose to pay interest only, nothing on principal. So the principal never goes down. And the reason they're doing this is because, that's less out of the pocket each month. So more payout, more profit overall that they could share with the shareholders. That's the plus. The bad is it's never going to go down. The debts never go down. So eventually you would hope that this would go down and we would have full equity of the property. But in this case, we're not. So we're getting the full payouts up front. Maybe that'll change down the road. Maybe they'll actually change the loans to, normal loans that'll pay on principal and eventually have a payout, say in 20 years. And by that time, you own a lot, bigger piece of the property and you get a bigger rent check. So yeah, right now, this example, it's $4 a share. That's likely not going to change unless the property gets valuated at a different price. Another thing on that actually, once these each property will have an offering period in the beginning, initial offering. And say it's priced at $4 a share. That's going to be the price for the initial offering. Once that offering's done, then there's all these are owned, right? Between shareholders. So this can vary based on supply and demand. So a seller could put in a limit, a limit order. They want to sell it for 5, and then a buyer could put a limit order for 450, and it could similar to stocks. It'll eventually it'll go up and down depending on supply and demand. If there's no buyers, then obviously the price is going to go down because the seller's going to be willing to sell it for less and take a lesser profit or even a loss. So I'm not sure. I haven't done a limit order yet. I've just bought based on the initial offer or the standard price. I haven't done any sales yet, so I'm still new as far as that goes. LTV, loan to value. They said their loan to value ratio will typically be around 60%. Hence my example being $60,000 in debt. So the loan here is $60,000. So typically, if you take the valuation of the property times by 60%, that's probably what the debt is. I'm sure it's going to vary, but that's what my understanding is. Now, to the part we care about, the money. How the hell do we make money, right? So in this example, we're going to charge they're going to charge a rent of $1,500. Now, obviously, there's expenses associated with the property. Those expenses are property tax, financing, meaning there's a monthly payment on the debt, which only goes to the interest, as I said. There's homeowner's insurance, HOA, and a management fee, which would go to Landa, which makes sense. They deserve some money. Net of that, $1,500 minus the expenses is $1,000. That's profit. That's how much they're making. Now, from that, they take out an amount for vacancies / reserves, and what that means is if the property's vacant, there's no rent coming in. So they need to build up a reserve for that, right? So they need to continue to pay you rent as much as possible. They don't want to make you, they want to keep the shareholders happy. Hopefully the property's never vacant and they always have a renter, but that's the reason that they're taking, say, about 25% of the profit out and putting in a reserve. That's from every shareholder. So also, I was told if this builds up enough that they don't actually need the money for the vacancy issue I mentioned, or say construction, work on the house, then they'll give that money back to the shareholders. Again, it's brand new, yet to be seen. That's my understanding. Okay, profit minus the vacancy reserves is $750. Now that is actually the rent payout. So again, that's the total rent payout for this property. Now, again, there's 10,000 shareholders, right? So you divide that by 10,000 and you get 8 cents. So in the end, in this example, when all is said and done, you get 8 cents per share per month. Keep in mind, you're putting out $4. So if you calculate, the annual return on that, it's 22.5%. That's pretty damn good. Obviously, this is just an example. This is not an actual property, but their rate of returns on their properties, although not this high, it's pretty damn close on some of them, if you get in on the right time. So yeah, that's basically an example of a property, and hopefully the numbers made sense. I'm not sure if you could see it on the video. Either way, I think I explained it good enough that people would understand. So, and a couple other things that I had questions on, like what about taxes? How's this going to work? The properties they have are now in Georgia. Do I have to file returns from Georgia? And I don't believe that is the case, but again, consult your tax advisor. That's what they tell me. That's what everyone tells you. But as soon as I know, I'll maybe make a follow-up video if I know in more detail. But they'll send you a 1099 at the end of the year anyway, and you can go from there. Hopefully it's easy to use with the tax, TurboTax, and all them online guys. But that was the main question I had. And then the other question is the whole SEC thing. and proof that it's legit. How do we know our money is safe? Right now, we can. They're in the App Store, and there's a lot of users out there that seem to be trustworthy with, and they're not shy to reaching back out to you, and everything that I Googled them about online seems to be legit. So those were my main concerns. Outside of that, I love it so far. I'm addicted. I have referred I think I used all my referrals. There's one pending. I should have 100 in total, but I guess someone didn't make a deposit. But I love the app. If you're wondering what that is, that's the Landa sign on the app. So if you're looking for it in the App Store, just it's like a white and green looking app, and it has that arrow looking thing. But yeah, I've been looking to get into real estate of some sort, and this is my opportunity. And again, broke investor. If I want to put in $10, I'll put in $10. I get 2 shares in this example, right? It's not too bad. So anyway, that's my review. Again, I like it. I feel comfortable about it for the most part, and I don't really have many complaints. So if you use Landa, or if you're interested in Landa or have questions, you have a comment about it, please leave a comment below. If you know of anyone interested in Landa, please feel free to share this video around. I only saw one other video about Landa on YouTube, so I figured I have an opportunity here to maybe build up an audience based on an application review, especially as an application that I like and I've been using for almost a week, sadly, but I'm already I ran the numbers. I feel comfortable about everything. So any questions, feel free, send me a comment. But I guess I'll post this on now. I finally got around to making another YouTube. So if you like the channel, subscribe, please, and click that notification button. All right? See you later.